The companies that are able to control their own destiny, the ones that could increase earnings through actions that they're taking unilaterally, independent of the economy and improving businesses, that's the best antidote to multiples coming down. And I think that's the advantage private equity has in creating alpha, and I think that's the thing we have to be relentlessly focused on as the macro invariably changes in the next few years.
Day one of SuperReturn International 2018, and the Blackstone Group's Prakash Malwani offering his outlook to some of the 2,300 private equity professionals attending the largest industry event in the world.
You've got to keep evolving, you've got to keep improving. You know, we try to have a very large funnel through which we get as many ideas and many opportunities globally as we can. And we try to pick the best ones at any point in time that make sense. And you have to keep communicating with our other businesses, with our other offices globally to make sure we're ferreting out what is the best opportunity at every point in time.
And you've talked about also embracing technology as part of that.
A lot of firms are scared of technology because they hear about e-commerce decimating the retail sector. But most technology and most of corporate America thinks technology is a big positive. If you talk to the CEOs of our companies, they view technology as a big enabler to allow them to improve productivity and improve margins. And we're very, very focused at Blackstone in making sure our portfolio companies, our industry groups, and the firm really embraces technology and uses it well to improve the performance of our companies.
More than 550 LPs and 1,000 GPs from 40 different countries gathered in Berlin. And whilst former Vice President and Chair of Cerberus, Dan Quayle, discussed the current incumbent of the White House.
He enjoys chaos, but he views chaos as his friend. He really does. He views chaos as his friend, and out of chaos he'd make a good decision and will go forward.
Professor of Finance at Peking University and Wall Street veteran Michael Pettis, meanwhile, gave an in-depth analysis of the global economic climate and suggested that although it might be the right time for the US to step back from disproportionate global commitments, such a leadership withdrawal could bring its own form of chaos.
If we see a US withdrawal as director of the system, and no one else is able to step in, and I would insist the only way for China to step in is to be willing to run the large current account deficits that the world needs it to run, then I think that's the period we have to look at. And it's a very bad period. The whole purpose of Bretton Woods was the consensus, the universal consensus, that whatever it was in the 20s and 30s, we don't want that anymore. Unfortunately, I think that's where we're going to go.
We need global leadership, and there might be a bit of a void.
We need either global leadership, which was possible when the US was 50% of the world. I think it's more difficult now that the US is 23% of the world, and there's nobody else to replace it. Or we need a coordinated system that works, with no gaming of the system.
A climate then of global uncertainty, geopolitical challenges, and ripples of concern over the continuation of one of the longest lasting bull markets in history.
We're 9 years into a recovery here. This won't last forever. So we're very focused on downside protection, either through valuation or through structure. We're fortunate with our investors to have very patient capital, long-dated capital. So we spend a lot of our time focusing on what's our downside, how can we avoid losing money or a permanent capital impairment, and if we have a great management team, a clear thesis, and a patient runway, the upside tends to take care of itself.
I think besides when the recession comes, it's really about disruption, is today's new risk. And we didn't talk about disruption as much 20 years ago. And obviously technology is disrupting so many businesses. You take a look at the retail sector where Amazon has really just changed the industry.
Private equity adapting and evolving at pace, and with so many key decision makers in one place at one time, SuperReturn International once again offered inspiration for change alongside unrivaled networking opportunities.